All right, we've got Dennis and the Doc here for our Florida A&M game recap. It was a 105-54 victory for the Creighton Blue Jays. We start the season 1-0. Alongside Mr. Dennis Thamanos, I am Dr. Chim Richards. What more can you really say? It was damn near a perfect performance.
Yeah, anytime you win by 51, you can't really ask for much more. Not much to say. We look good.
The spread on the game closed out at 36.5. We talked yesterday that we felt a lot more comfortable about 31 than 35. So much so that debated taking the Rattlers end of it.
One of us did.
One of us might have. Not me, just to be clear. The over hit fairly easily, totaling up 160 over 142.5.
We were on that.
We were on that one. Yeah, that was. But Florida A&M did not slow the pace down as much as we thought they might.
No.
It was a lot of early bricks in the shot clock.
Yeah.
It was some pretty ugly offense. They had moments where they looked like a competent basketball team, but they were few and far between. We go to the numbers from the game, just taking a look at the box score. So I think you could debate player of the game, and we'll get to that. But Stephen Ashworth, 18 minutes, 17 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. He was 6 of 9 from the field and 5 of 7 from 3. That kind of looked like maybe even exceeding our expectations of Ashworth this year.
Yeah, he's just such a seamless fit. He's just such a perfect college basketball player, a guy you want on your team, an adult in the room. Don't have enough good things to say about him. No turnovers either.
Yep.
He's a great player, and I don't think he's a good defender, but I think that's pretty much entirely due to his physical limitations. I think he's in the right spots for the most part. I think he gives good effort. He's just a 5'10", 170-pound white guy who's probably going to struggle with bigger guards and quicker guards.
Yeah.
But offensively could not have fitted any better.
No, and they weren't we generated so many open looks yesterday, but he was perfectly willing to take ones that were contested, that were deep.
Yeah.
And he proved he can make them all. So, yeah, there's really not much else to say other than he is the guy we think he is.
I think so, yeah.
Alexander, big day for Trey, and I'm kind of wondering if he's going to miss at any point this season, because now through an exhibition and basically an exhibition, he has been on fire. 26 minutes led the team only by 1 minute actually. 20 points in those 26 minutes, with 18 of them coming in the first half. 4 rebounds, 5 assists for Trey, playing a lot of the point, especially in the second half. Did have 4 turnovers, though. 7 of 8 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3, and a perfect 4 for 4 at the line.
Yeah, he looked like the player you're going to need him to be to get to where you want to be. He looked in control, made good decisions for the most part, got downhill, shot the ball well. Yeah, again, not much to say about him.
Yeah, just looks so comfortable, not shaking off rust at all. And it's one of those things, right, where you can tell he's playing like he has something to prove, but he's not playing outside the system, which is refreshing.
Yeah.
Shireman also had a pretty good game. Volume was a little higher though. 20 minutes, 15 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 turnover. 5 of 10 from the field, 3 of 8 from 3, and 2 for 2 at the line. Pretty good game for him.
Yeah. Size notwithstanding, I think he's one of the best rebounders defensively I've ever seen.
Yep.
For a guy his size to consistently average 8 rebounds a game, which I think is pretty close to what he averaged last year, is impressive. He seems to just get a natural read at where the ball's going to come off. And that's big because, as we've kind of touched on before, Kalkbrenner's not a great defensive rebounder for his size.
Yeah.
So having Shireman there to help clean up is a big deal. I thought he forced a couple of shots yesterday, which he's going to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, another good game. Made some good passes. A couple of hockey assists.
Yeah, I was going to say the 2 assists I think is deceiving.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's what Rodman said, right? The greatest rebounder of all time says it's about knowing where the ball is going to end up more than it is about any physical attribute of rebounding.
Yeah.
And he clearly has that. Now, he's got a good jump to him, too. Like, he's lanky, and he'll get up there and sky for a couple of rebounds. But, yeah, for a 6'7" wing, he rebounds the shit out of the ball and does it consistently.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, Mason Miller, 20 minutes, 7 points, 8 rebounds in those 20 minutes also. 1 assist, 2 turnovers for Mason, 2 of 5 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3, 1 of 2 at the free throw line. Not his best game. Certainly wasn't bad, though.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think he does what you're not going to ask him to do really much of anything. You're going to ask him to play hard, which I think he did, rebound, which I think he did, defense was fine, and knock down open threes, which he was 2 for 5, so
right.
I'll take that. Yeah, I don't think he pushed anything.
Nope.
Guy wasn't looking to make a play where a play wasn't. Shot 5 threes. I think they're all 5 shots. I'm perfectly fine with them taking. Good energy. Not much to say.
Yep, that's pretty. I mean, honestly, that's pretty close to the kind of stat line you would expect from him when conference play rolls around. You figure like 23 minutes maybe.
Yeah.
8 boards would be great. 7 points is fine by me. You go 40% from 3 all year. We're all going to be pretty happy with that. So
yeah, you don't need much more from him than those types of performances.
Because we've talked about it before, right? Like, not every player needs to be a star.
No.
That's a great role performance.
We have, I think, 4 stars.
Right.
Let them do their thing. Don't be in a spot where your guy can go double Kalkbrenner in the post with no fear, where you can sag and help Trey. If you're going to be able to sit in the corner and shoot 40% on open threes.
I did notice he was kind of running weak side corner a lot in the first half with either Ashworth or Shireman in the strong side corner, and that's probably the right way to set that up.
Yeah.
Because I think they'll be more likely to allow the freshman to take the sophomore to take the shots than one of those other guys. But interesting to see. Yeah. The 2 turnovers, like I think one of them was a charge where he lost the ball kind of running into somebody. You cut down on, I mean, again, like what are we going to nitpick this game?
Yeah.
Kalkbrenner, like again, if we really wanted to nick 20 minutes, 9 points, only 4 boards, but again, when you've got your 3 and 4 with 16 total, there ain't going to be a lot left for you.
Yeah.
2 assists, though, 1 block. He was an efficient 4 of 5 from the field, with the only miss coming from 3. Yeah, I mean, they clearly didn't need to use him, right?
Yeah, and I think there will be games. It wouldn't surprise me if he has a down year counting stat-wise.
Yeah.
Just because I think the fit of Ashworth elevates Alexander and Shireman, I think, more than Kalkbrenner, where Nemhard is more of a downhill player, got the lob threat, or with the lob threat to Kalkbrenner, and Ashworth doesn't bring as much of that. He brings something else.
Yep.
But you saw how Kalkbrenner he had a nice seal, nice rim run. He'll still average, I think, 13 points a game. But points-wise, it wouldn't surprise me if the counting stats are down, and I think there probably will be games where teams decide they're not going to let us shoot threes, and it is going to be up to him inside. But
right,
yeah,
I think it's going to take a special team to keep us from shooting threes this year.
Yeah,
but they're out there for sure.
Yeah, so I think that's one interesting point to bring up. I think through 2 games, the team last year is obviously susceptible to off shooting nights, and it just sort of seems hard to see how this team gets there. And if you want to nitpick at times, I mean, Alexander, Shireman, Miller, Ashworth, Farabello, Trout, Lawson, all of those guys, it wouldn't shock me if they've shot 40% from 3 this year.
Right.
I think it's very realistic. We have 6 40% three-point shooters on this team. And obviously, volume varies from person to person, but it just feels like it's going to be hard to have a really true off night with this group.
It's harder, right? Because last year when we were playing basically 7 deep, right, it only took Baylor and Trey being off, and then it was almost a guarantee to be a bad night. Like, Nembhard would explode every now and then, like he did in the Baylor game.
Yeah.
But even that wasn't all from 3. I think he made 3 maybe.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a matter of, well, okay, so Ashworth has to be off. Then Trey has to be off. Baylor also has to be off. Even still, you've got 2 guys at the 4 that can shoot it from 40%, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then if you throw Lawson in there, Farabello has a good night, right? Like, it is so hard to imagine a world where they really, truly have an off night from 3.
Yeah.
So that does it for the starting lineup. Moving into the backups, Farabello, 25 minutes, was the second most. 5 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 turnovers, 2 of 3 from the field, and 1 of 2 from 3. Not a bad
I
shift.
thought he played well. I thought, especially off the that loose ball scramble where he came up with it, took 1 dribble and stepped into it confident. It was big to see. I think he probably rightfully lost some confidence down the stretch last year.
Yeah.
And again, kind of like we said with Mason Miller, like we're going to say with Trout, you're not asking him to do much. Like, play a little bit of defense, help out rebounding a little bit, make open threes. Like, that's really all he's going to be asked to do. He had a nice dribble drive. We're not going to ask you to do any of that.
Right.
Shoot the open 3, make the right pass, don't turn the ball over. I thought he played well.
Yep. Same goes, I think, for Josiah Doetzler. 15 minutes, 6 points, 1 rebound, no assists, 2 of 4 from the field, and 1 for 1 from 3. Showed some flashes.
Yep. Yeah, he looks like, I think in a year or 2 from now he can be a nice piece.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were maybe going a little over the top last night with how good he was.
Yeah.
But it was flashes, right?
Yeah.
I think we unfortunately might have gotten ourselves used to the freshman being able to contribute at a high level right away, where that's not necessarily always going to happen.
Yeah, probably not.
Like, I do think he's a good player, and I do think,
time,
like, by the time he's a junior, I think he can absolutely be a very good starting point guard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, he's still a freshman.
Yeah, and I will say I think he's a downgrade defensively from Sharif, obviously, but I think it is a situation which I think a lot of people would be. But I think it is a situation where somehow Ashworth picks up 2 quick fouls and Doetzler needs to play for 5 minutes. I don't think it's the end of the world.
I don't think it's as bad as when Sharif had to do it, where the offense
he's not
was stalled
he's
quite
not a
as
zero
much.
on offense.
Yeah. So that's good. Showed the ability to drive it. He's got a good handle. Again, hard to tell with the competition you're playing, but
yeah,
we just keep saying it. He looks up to speed, and that's really all you can ask for at this point.
Yeah, not to get too far ahead of things, but I think all of us accept this is the last dance, and next year will be a rebuilding year. But I do think watching these pieces, it'll be a fun next year where I think we can get like a 8 or 9 seed, win a couple games, lose a couple games we probably shouldn't. Like, it'll sort of be like a 21 season where it's sort of fun watching the guys grow. You can see the flashes there. Like, I think there's potential with these guys and incoming freshmen. And
Lord knows what happens. Exactly. Lord knows what happens in the portal. You get one impact player out of it, and all of a sudden you piece these guys around it, and you say, all right, that's a pretty good lineup. Because that was something we were talking about in the second half, because we did find out. So it is official. Knox, Thomas, Townley Thomas, and Vice will redshirt. Okay. So that second unit, that is our garbage time unit. And we're looking at it, we're like, shit, this would beat quite a few Power 5 teams.
Yeah. They do bad things to Louisville.
Yeah, that team would
put 100
massacre
Louisville.
Yeah. So Jonathan Lawson, one of those garbage time players. That's just going to be so funny all year. 15 minutes, 7 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 of 5 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3. Again, not a huge performance, but at the same time, nothing really to say like, oh, you did that wrong.
No, I think he did everything right. I kind of want to see him get more minutes.
I do too.
I think there's a role for him. I think just the fact that he's 6'6" with a 7'1" wingspan, he gives us sort of a different thing defensively.
Yep.
Where I think seeing him if we need to shut down someone like a Dingle or something when Trey's on the bench in conference play, or who knows what UConn looks like.
Yeah.
But no, I like him a lot. His shot's so ugly, but goes in, so I guess good for you. Yeah.
Well, at Memphis, they kept saying he's a defensive liability, but I don't know if that's just one of those things where the fan base is protecting Penny for not playing him.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. He seems fine.
No, and that's playing nobodies yet. We'll find out against Iowa. But he had a block. They didn't give him credit for a steal, but he definitely poked one away. Mm-hmm. Again, long arms, right? He's going to frustrate some guys.
Yeah.
So I like him. Again, I'd like to see if Farabello was 25 minutes, he was 15. I'd like to see that closer to a 20-20 split, at least until we figure out what he is.
See Lawson play with the ones a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. Isaac Trott, 21 minutes, 12 points, 6 boards, 2 assists, 3 fouls. But he was 4 of 10 from the field, 3 of 8 from 3, high volume off the bench. But he looked better than Wayne State, for sure.
Yeah, I'd agree. I still think he's kind of slow and kind of soft, but shot looks good.
It took some face-up makes. Wasn't taking easy looks necessarily all night, but they're clearly ones they want him to shoot.
Yeah.
Because you can kind of tell when Greg's getting frustrated with how much a guy shoots, and you look at, like, the only other guy who took as many shots as he did was Baylor.
Yeah.
And you say, like, all right, should he be doing that? But, yeah, if you're going to make, 38% of your threes, then I guess you can.
Yeah. Yeah, he played better. Again, you're not really asking for much from him. Don't be a zero defensively.
Yeah.
Hit the glass, make open threes.
Yep. So I'm liking, again, hard not to like what you see so far.
Yeah, any criticisms we have after a 51-point win are very...
Yeah. Fred King had a real nice game. 20 minutes, 7 points, 9 boards, 1 assist, 2 blocks, 3 of 8 from the field, but he got hacked a couple of times in there.
Yeah.
Pretty decent showing. He was active on the glass.
Yeah, he plays hard.
Yeah.
Strong, big body.
A couple people, like, because I posted something about, like, I enjoyed watching him last night. A couple people, like, he made the jump this year. I'm like, I don't know if I saw that. Like, no. I didn't see, like, a noticeable difference, but at the same time, that's fine.
Yeah, I saw he seemed a little bit better, a little more sure of himself and aggressive. We'll see. Again, you don't need much from him this year. Play hard in your 8-9 minutes, grab a couple of rebounds.
Yeah.
Make the bunnies.
Yep. And when he doesn't, he seems to get his own rebound most of the time. So at least you know where you're missing. It was 18 made 3-pointers. Program record is, I believe, 22. So the question's got to be asked is, do we eclipse that record this year?
I wouldn't be surprised if we eclipse it on, like, Tuesday.
I was going to say, like, if it's happening, I feel like either Iowa or North Dakota State might be the time that happens.
Yeah, both those games should get pretty up and down. Not great defensive teams. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah. I mean, because, like, it's hard to imagine playing better than we did last night.
Yeah, we shot 47% from 3 and 69% from 2.
Like, is there a game that maybe just, like, gets away? Like, because that's the thing that I think sticks out to me is we don't have a garbage time team.
Yeah.
So if there's a game where, like this, where it's just a runaway, we're not going to stop playing.
Mm-hmm.
We literally don't have a choice. We're going to keep playing.
Yeah, the 5 guy, Mason Miller was on the court until there was like 2 minutes left in the game last night, and he starts.
Yeah. That's going to be somebody, I don't know if it was you that said this or somebody on Twitter I saw, like, it's going to be a nightmare for odds makers. Like,
that's the point
numbers.
I was making, and I've let a couple people know. Like, I think Creighton is a big favorite, holds a lot of value.
Yeah.
Because those last 5 minutes where it was Evan Young and Sami Osmani is now 5 guys that I'd have no issue playing with the starters in a vacuum. If they got 5, if any of those guys get 7 or 8 minutes against UConn, I'm not gonna be losing.
Like we said, they'd beat Louisville, they'd beat Notre Dame, they'd beat DePaul. Like, like this. It's a garbage time lineup that is better than at least 8 Power 5 starting lineups, Power 6.
Yeah, easy. And I also think live betting late in games too.
Yeah,
because I'm sure when Creighton was up 38, I want to say, with 4.5 to play. I'm sure the spread at that point was like 41-ish.
Yeah, maybe 43, something like that.
I don't know if it was that high, because I'm sure most of those teams, I think you play most teams even like that.
Yeah, I suppose if you take the historical data, it probably is a lot of wash at the end of the game.
at least until they adjust. Like, I know I'll be paying attention Saturday and seeing what it says. Because obviously we ended up winning by 51 and outscoring them by 13 over the final 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a crowd of 16,117, supposedly. Yeah, big doubt. Was an 8 p.m. tip on a Tuesday, so you figure...
Terrible team.
Yeah, you figure some of the families aren't quite hanging out. They did all leave early, though. Like, folks, if you're coming to a game at 8 p.m. on a Tuesday, at that point, you'd better be prepared to stay for the whole thing. Because if I don't...
40. It's not like it was some...
The game was over at 9:38.
Yeah.
Like, it was not taking forever. Like, this was one of the most fun displays of basketball I've ever watched in my life. Not only was it a library in there, it was quiet as hell. But then everyone fucking left at the under 12.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you getting home to that's more important than that? Family, job, none of that matters.
Yeah.
Watch a fucking basketball game. I got a problem with that. I got a bone to pick with those people. So just to touch on it, because I think we'd be remiss if we didn't. The win probability chart. So
yeah, it was just a straight line.
It was just a straight red line because Ken Pom gave the Rattlers a 0% chance of winning this game.
Our low win probability was 99.1%.
Yeah, I'm almost surprised it got that low. I guess it was 8-8 there.
That's
right?
8-6. Yeah. 8-6 Rattlers.
Wow.
Slow start an issue?
Yeah. Gotta ask that question. Iowa's gonna blitz us on our home court.
Do we need to change up what we're doing in practice?
Yeah.
Change the intro song back?
Oh, well, you're stuck with it now. Like, we've both made reference to it. Like, if they're doing the whole, like, Last Dance thing, you're stuck with it now.
Well, we did. Because they did play the same song, right?
Yeah, they just played it way too quietly, and the announcer kind of fucked it up.
What were you going to say? Yeah, we've joked in the past after the whole Kanye do-to-do. Like, it'd be funny to just take Nebraska's. Well, behold, they actually did it. So.
Just decided that, you know what, we'll be having that.
Yeah.
That will be ours now. I kind of, like, part of me doesn't like it because it's so clearly like we're just doing the thing that's popular in the state. But
yeah.
It is kind of funny to be like, we're the better team in the state.
It's a good intro song.
Yeah,
it's the Miami Heat intro. No one else's.
The Miami Heat?
Yeah, they used that. Oh, no, shit, our song. Take it back.
What are you talking about?
Miami Heat was Seven Nation Army. I was thinking of a different thing.
Oh, good.
Different intro.
No, man.
Yeah, no, not that. I'm aware it's Nebraska and the Bulls.
It's the Bulls.
Yeah.
It's not Nebraska. They started using it because the Bulls were using it.
It's fact or fiction they use it.
Yeah. Sorry, I gotta get anal about that. Florida A&M's next game, speaking of which, is going to be at Nebraska.
Nebraska does seem to lose a bye game every year.
Gonna guess they don't win by 51. I will at least go out on that limb.
Yeah, probably not.
Gotta imagine the spread is 25, maybe?
24, so good goes.
Tominaga might not play. Jawan Gary is suspended. Ulis is suspended. Never know.
Did you see that? Oh, I'm sure you did see the Nebraska beat writer who was like kind of shitting on Gus Yalden at Wisconsin for getting popped for.
Well, he was a Nebraska
drinking.
target.
Yeah,
Nebraska
underage
target.
drinking and smoking marijuana.
The Nebraska beat is basically just like, let's like pluck a fan out of the stands and they can write an article every other day. It's really no different, and it's basically. I think it's the same guy who's running our beat right now, at least until they fill Lorenzi's spot.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. Good for him, though. He went to NBA, so it's nice.
Yeah.
Leave us behind. And then we'll just touch on this briefly before closing. Poor DePaul.
Yeah.
What do you do? What
the
hell do you do?
It shouldn't be that hard to win there, but
yeah.
Clearly it is.
I don't know. Like, again, we both have kind of said, like, Stubblefield's not bad.
I don't think. I mean, the first year under him, it seemed like they had a little bit of momentum.
Right.
It seemed like, maybe.
They won a game in the Garden last year.
Who'd they beat?
Seton Hall. Yeah, it was the 7-10 last year.
Okay.
Yeah, they didn't finish last year either. You know, like
Georgetown.
Yeah.
Doesn't count. Yeah, it's. I don't know. You have a good recruiting ground. It's a good recruiting area. Yeah, Chicago kids don't really
really care about DePaul. Like, I will say that. Like, knowing the area well enough, Chicago kids don't care about any of the Chicago teams, and you're lucky if they care about Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, Chicago kids are Duke kids, are Michigan State kids, are Kentucky kids. Like, that's where they think of.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's an uphill battle, but it's one you figure someone would win eventually, just by luck,
Or
if
just
nothing
not,
else.
or just not lose.
Yeah.
Just like go 500.
Well, yeah, that would be something. But all right, I think that'll wrap up for us. Little quick recap. I think depending on the game, depending on the opponent, these will vary in length a little bit, but we'll try to do them for most of the games this year, I think.
Yeah.
At least most of the weekday games, for sure.
Probably, yeah.
All right, so that will close out. Be on the lookout for our national review coming out very soon.